What's going on, track and field family? Welcome back to On the Mic with Marshall. This week's interview will be done with my good friend and teammate, Miss Takira Koonce. So I'm gonna sit back, let her do her introduction, and I'll be back with the first question.
Hey, Marshall, and all the viewers, whoever's listening. My name's Takira. I'm 25, and I became an amputee in 2022 of June. Yeah, and I'm gonna get into everything that's going on with me and whatever questions Marshall has.
Okay, Takira, first question. Can you tell us a little bit about your running career prior to becoming an amputee?
Okay, so a little about me and running prior to becoming an amputee. I ran since I was 6. I was always in track. My parents tried to get me to try other sports, but in my heart, I always was like, I want to run track. Like, track is my life. Like, I love track with a passion. So I didn't care about any other sports. I enjoyed basketball and volleyball for a little bit, but that was like hobby activities. But track was that was the it girl. That was my thing. So, like I said, I have been running since I was 6. Ran all the way up until college. Had scholarships and everything. Went to school. Um, in high school, I went to North Miami Senior High. It's in Miami, obviously North Miami Senior High. When I was there, I had the school record for the 200 for I want to say 2 to 3 years before somebody took it down, maybe 3, just because I'm feeling myself a little bit. So probably that. At my first college, my freshman year, I ran at Grambling State University. Um, it was okay, but the staffing and everything was like had a little bit of turbulence, a little bit of turmoil. So it wasn't a great freshman year, a great start to like my college career in track. So that was that. I had injuries here and there. I'm very injury prone, so that's that. But when I went to North Miami my senior year, my high school coach was that guy. So I was not hurt at all during the season. So it just takes a good coach to make it right. But that's besides the point. Like I said, 6 till college. I was a 200 record holder in high school. I was the fastest girl basically on my freshman at my freshman college. Um, Even with injuries or whatnot. Then I went to another school. It was a smaller school. It's called Knox. It's in Illinois. We're not gonna get too much into them, but I went there, and I am still the record holder for the 200. Yes, the 200. So yeah, I'm obviously a 200 girly, and that's my race. So yeah, that's like me before that's me before amputation. I was a good, great, fantastic 200 runner, and yeah.
Okay, Takira. Question 2. How did you become an amputee?
Caught COVID on my way home from vacation from Aruba for my 23rd birthday. And I got home on a Tuesday. And by that Friday, I was so sick that I could barely do anything. I ended up going to urgent care. Urgent care immediately started, like doing what they had to do. It was like my heart was shaking, it wasn't beating properly. I didn't have a temperature. I was cold, a lot, all that stuff. So from there, I was transported. Mind you, before I get into this, because you're probably like, oh, a lot of people tell me it's like, oh, you tell this story so easily. You do this, you do that, but I was blacked out. Okay, after I got to urgent care, I don't know anything else that happened. So this is hearsay, secondhand me, well, more third hand me telling you what happened because I got told this from my parents and doctors. So got admitted to hospitals. One hospital couldn't take me; they had to release me. I moved to another hospital. By the time I got there, they started rigging me up to all type of life support systems. This machine called the Echo. This machine Echo ECMO, one of the two. I think it's ECMO. Echoes is the scan. It's ECMO. ECMO machine. I got intubated, dialysis, anything else you could think that does life support. I was on it. They had to do emergency surgeries to drain fluid off of me because my body was swelling. Like there was bits and pieces. But my amputation is really a side effect of me having myocarditis, which is heart failure due to a virus. So it's like hiccups happen, things happen. In order to save my life, my leg had to be taken because it was becoming necrotic and all that kind of stuff because I was in the midst of potentially not making it, not being here. So that's what happened. My amputation is a side effect of what really happened to me, which was I had heart failure. So yeah, that's me in like a really short story.
Okay, Takira, question 3. What are some of the difficulties of using a prosthetic?
Difficulties with my prosthetic. I could make that list go on and on and on, and we could be here forever with just this one question. But um, everybody's surgery, there's no two surgeries that are the same when it comes to amputations because everybody's body's different. How much tissue and skin and bone and all that you save and you keep in your residual limb and all that kind of stuff. I can't tell you how much I have. I'm a below the knee. I'm a short below the knee. I think they said I have like, I want to say like 9 inches of limb left at below my knee, something like that. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. It's not really a fact that I like keep at the top of my head, but yeah, I'm a short, so it gives me a lot of room to play with my prosthetic and what I put below my socket. But at the same time, having a short limb kind of limits my range of motion a lot of the times. I've come to find out, especially when I wear sleeves. Like it's just like is the sleeves they use to keep your prosthetic on to create that vacuum system. They're very compressing, so that compressing feeling plus plastic or carbon fiber, whatever the socket is made out of, all of that stuff put together is very restricting. Like the range of motion is not there. It's not giving. So that's a difficulty that I have a lot, especially like trying to implement plyometrics or get depth with squats or do lunges and all that kind of stuff that I really enjoy doing. I have to really be creative and figure it out and see what feels comfortable and what doesn't, because sometimes the prosthetic can rub the back of my knee and then it makes it raw. Already, that's another difficulty to mention because I'm about to get into that really to make it clear. I have very sensitive skin. I always have. I've had eczema when I was little, all that stuff. So it doesn't take a lot to make my skin flare up or to get some type of reaction. And that's another thing with prosthetics because, like I said, the vacuum systems, all the sleeves and the compression, and all that kind of stuff, there is no room for sweat to escape. There's no breathability. There's nothing. The skin stays moist, and then there's friction, and then there's just adding socks and making thickness and allowing more movement. Like there's just so much that goes into it. Like there's just so much that you have to figure out on your own because most of the time your prosthesis isn't an amputee as well. Or like I said, no two surgeries are the same, so no two limbs look the same. No two people have the same pain threshold. Like there's just so much you have to figure out on your own, and I think that's the most difficult part is just the unknown and then figuring it out and then trying to find a solution and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a lot. It can be very overwhelming. It can be very defeating. It can be annoying. It can be frustrating. It can be everything. It can incite a riot of emotions. A lot of times, especially with me, just because I have the background and the knowledge of being an athlete and I know how my body used to move and then trying to figure out how to move my body now. So there's just a lot of that. Like I've done a lot better, but I'm still only a 2-year old amputee at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, it's just like I said, I could go on all day about this. So that's just the basics of my rant, like really today up until now with living with amputation for years and change.
Okay, Takira. Question 4. What are your goals for joining the Paralympics?
My goals for joining the Paralympics, this year, I can say that they're not very grand because I feel like last year, as a very as a baby amputee, I put a lot of pressure on my shoulders. So this year, I'm just kind of taking it as I go. I'm taking it with what my body allows me to do. I'm taking it with however many opportunities I get to compete. I'm taking it, just like whatever happens, happens. God's plan is God's plan. So if I make it to Worlds, I make it to Worlds. If I win at Worlds, I win at Worlds. If I come dead last again, I come dead last again. So it is what it is this year, really. So I'm just planning to have fun. I'm planning to enjoy myself, and I'm planning to allow myself to fall back in love with track. Because last year I think I put so much strain on myself to be the to be Takira as a whole able-bodied person rather than to accept Takira as an amputee and never having touched the blade until 2 months before a qualifying track meet. So yeah, that's that.
Okay, Takira. Next question. What are some of the challenges of training with a blade?
So like I kind of touched on before with the challenges or difficulties of being what is it the difficulties using my prosthetic kind of answers the same question as difficulties with using a blade. The blade is a little bit more difficult because it doesn't have a heel and it gives energy back and it's bouncy and okay, so let me just explain it because maybe talking to somebody who doesn't understand what a blade is. So a blade is a prosthetic meant for running. It can look like a J, it can look like a C, it can look like a crooked S, whatever your brain correlates the shape to, it looks like that. It has a nice little curve to it. The bottom of the curve is the foot, basically like the point of contact with the ground. Um, it gets mounted, rear mounted, so it means like there's your socket, and on the back of your socket is where the blade starts and goes down and curves and comes under you. So yeah, all of that technology and science and all that kind of stuff that they figured out to make sure that you're able to have contact with the ground and the force that you put into the blade comes back up and helps you spring forward and all that good stuff. So yeah, there's that. So you go from learning how to walk on something that doesn't give you energy back, something very stiff, something very straight. That's the word I'm looking for, but I can't touch it right now. Yeah, you go from learning to walk on that, almost like stilts, almost, especially if you're more above the knee. Then there, I was told that the less joints you have, the harder it is to learn how to walk. So I'm below the knees, and that's supposed to be a pro, whatever, whatever. So the blade, yeah. So then you go from learning to walk on something straight and stiff to learn to, maneuver on this blade. Again, blades. Most blade system are used with a knee sleeve, a compression sleeve that creates that vacuum system to keep it on your leg. Um, okay, there, it's another challenge basically. Like that's literally the best way I can explain it. It's another challenge. Like it's something else you have to figure out. There's a lot that goes into aligning it to make sure it's level under you, right? There's a lot that goes into making sure that height, because it's supposed to be raised a little bit higher than your able body side, so that when you compress into it, your hips are even. So at your running pace, you're running on even hips, but when you're walking, it's like a little raised, but that's because of the compression that goes into the blade. So there's that. There's, like I said, a lot of aligning. So running on a blade is a lot of understanding and comprehension between you and your processes, and just listening to each other and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, taking the blade for a run and then probably having to go back and tweak something else. Some people know how to tweak it themselves. I'm not that person. Frankly, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to mess anything up. I don't want to break it because if you don't have someone looking out for you, or if you don't feel like fighting insurance for 10 plus years to get one, then I'm not touching it. I don't want to break it. So that's that.
Okay, Takira. Question 6. What has your experience been like so far within the Paralympic movement?
My experience within the Paralympics so far has been like a get it how you can type of thing. Like if you have connections, then you have a better chance. Um, you have people who are going to look out for you. You have a better chance of, getting where you need to go, especially as an amputee. Because if you don't have the equipment, then you can't perform. So I think that's just the experience. I think there needs to be more ways, more locations, and more opportunities for people to be able to have access to things to make them capable and able to compete and do what they love and what they want to do without it being something that they can't take seriously because they don't have the equipment or the experience or the coaching or the facilities to do it. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay, Takira. Question 7. I am personally curious on how you respond to this question. If you could go back and speak to your younger self, how would you prepare her for becoming an amputee?
If I can go back and talk to my younger self, I'm not even completely sure if I would tell her that she's going down the path that I'm currently on. I don't think that I would really give her that kind of heads up. It might be a more cryptic thing, like trust yourself, be strong, love yourself, don't be harsh on yourself. You're not always going to look the way you want to, but you always have the drive and determination, the willpower to do what you need to do what you love to be who you want to be. I think I would tell her to pray more. I think I would tell her to trust in her community and her family. Um, yeah, I think I would give her life advice more so than letting her know what's going to happen because I don't think knowing bad news rather than being uplifted would have helped me more.
Okay, Takira. That makes sense. Last question. Question 8. What do you enjoy to do when you're not training?
When I'm not training, um, I like to watch TV. I am a terrible, 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 but in my opinion, fantastic, time consuming binge watcher. Mostly of anime, but I also enjoy good fantasy, drama, sci-fi, crime type shows too. With real people, because some people swear I don't watch real people. Um, I do that. I still go to the gym and lift because at this point it's a lifestyle. You know, I cook. I'm a great cook. Hit me up if you ever want to try some food. Groceries on you though. But yeah, I can cook. I have a video game. I play my video game. I play shooter games for the most part. Um, I have a dog. I cuddle my dog. Take care of dogs. I enjoy dealing with dogs. I'm not sure. I hang out with my friends like any normal girl. Like bars, vacation. I love a vacation. If I could go on vacation all the time, I would. If I could get paid to take vacations for someone, I would definitely. Um, Other than that, I kind of feel like I sound a little boring or a little stereotypical or like any other person, but yeah, um, I let fun come as it is. Like somebody invites me somewhere and I feel like going, I'll go. I'm not really a partier, don't like standing up, especially now. I'm not standing up anywhere for too long. I like escape rooms. That's a newfound thing that I really enjoy. Also, I like photography. I have a drone, so I kind of do that. I kind of dibble and dabble in that kind of stuff. Take my own pictures sometimes. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it. So I hope y'all enjoyed. I enjoyed talking to you guys. Thank you for asking.
Okay, guys, this concludes this week's episode of On the Mic with Marshall. Let's give a special thank you to our guest, Miss Takira Koonce. All her social media stuff will be logged in the comment section below and on YouTube in the description. I'm personally curious to see how she's gonna do this season because she has came so far just becoming a new amputee. So make sure in the comments you all give her some encouraging words and tell her to keep on going forward. And I know she's gonna do some great things, so I'm just prepared to see what she's gonna do. All right, you guys, I'll see you in the next one.